Governor Abbott signs new laws to reform the organization that oversees most of the Texas power grid. But will they do enough?
Around winterizing or weatherizing the power system, not enough was done on gas. Almost nothing was done for our homes and businesses.
Why some experts worry you could end up bearing the costs of the changes. A new candidate for governor pushes a plan to end property taxes in Texas.
Our property taxes just keep going up year after year. Texans are tired of renting their homes from the government.
He says he has a plan to pay for it, but do the numbers add up? Plus, decisions at the Capitol bring new investment to protect Texas from hurricanes. Why the legislation got support from lawmakers who live far from the coast.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Improving the reliability of the state's power grid became a focus for lawmakers after the deadly and devastating power outages during the winter storm. This week, Governor Greg Abbott signed a pair of bills into law to reform the organization that currently oversees most of the Texas power grid. Senate Bill 2 will cut the number of ERCOT board members from 15 members down to 11. It will also allow the state's top leaders to weigh in on those appointments instead of just leaving it up to the governor. Meanwhile, Senate Bill 3 will create an alert system to inform Texas residents about potential power shortages. It also adds a requirement for energy providers that are operating on the ERCOT grid to weatherize their equipment.
The Railroad Commission and ERCOT now must inspect these facilities, and failure to weatherize can result in penalties of up to $1 million.
Following the deadly winter storms in February, Governor Abbott made it a legislative priority to address some of the issues surrounding ERCOT. He says these bills do just that, and there's nothing left to be done. But Maggie Glenn spoke with energy experts who say the state needs much more reform.
Governor Abbott signs Senate Bills 2 and 3, promising to keep Texans from losing power again.
Bottom line is that everything that needed to be done was done to fix the power grid in Texas.
Senate Bill 2 reforms who sits on our Electric Reliability Council. Senate Bill 3 outlines weatherization requirements for power generators and establishes a statewide outage alert system.
It addresses coordination, communication, oversight, and reliability.
Our ultimate goal was to make sure that those individuals, those consumers, our constituents back home, never ever had to deal with this issue ever again.
But energy experts say the bills don't solve all of the issues.
There's a lot more we could have done.
UT Energy Resources professor Michael Weber says our natural gas systems should have more weatherization requirements too.
And really the priority of Senate Bill 3 was around winterizing or weatherizing the power system. Not enough was done on gas. Almost nothing was done for our homes and businesses.
The bills could have improved infrastructure in homes with insulation upgrades, but at a cost.
We already have programs and incentives for energy efficiency, but we can accelerate them and ramp them up to improve the efficiency of homes.
Energy experts hope lawmakers still consider more reform before another extreme weather event, but say these bills are a good starting point.
Kudos to the legislature. They did something, which is more than what they can say for 2011. After that blackout, they didn't do anything. So this is a big step forward.
Maggie Glenn for State of Texas.
Weatherization requirements for power generators will begin in 6 months, but there's concern about how to pay for the mandates passed by lawmakers. As Tahira Rahman reports, some say recent changes to the language of the bills may cost Texans.
My roommate and I were sitting in the living room and heard like a loud popping noise.
That's when Taylor Smith saw water gushing into her apartment.
It's the wall that backs up to my bedroom. I knew for a fact that that wall was wet.
Her apartment was eventually deemed unlivable about a month after the winter storm. One of countless stories the governor wants to prevent from recurring by signing Senate Bills 2 and 3, which include required weatherization.
It's unfunded, and it's going to leave it up to consumers to end up paying for this.
Shane Kaywood is with a company that owns and operates commercial real estate. He worries that because there's no allocated funding, customers will end up footing the bill.
It also ignores a really important part of what happened back during the freeze, where we had about 32 hours of charges.
Abbott and supporters say the new law limits how much groups like Austin Energy pay for power. That, in turn, would keep prices down for regular customers.
If wholesale market prices were much higher, then rates would be a lot higher. But if they stay lower, then rates should stay lower.
In the meantime, power companies can pay February's energy costs back over time instead of all at once. But that may also end up being passed to customers.
It'll be interesting to see how some of those costs are allocated to all energy customers.
I'm Tahira Rahman for State of Texas.
According to the new law, power generators that don't meet the new weatherization requirements could be fined up to $1 million per violation. The requirements kick in 6 months. President Biden's American Jobs Plan could give Texas more funding to pay for protecting the power grid. The proposal includes $100 billion in funding to update the nation's electric grid and make it more resilient to disasters. The president says his plan will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. Some of those would be for workers to lay miles of new transmission lines and build a more modern power grid. Some Texans along the border are crying out for help. How the governor is responding to their concerns about the surge of migrants entering the state.
Is the border secure? No. Now, the property tax is going down. No. Do we have confidence in our election? No.
He wants the governor's job. We go in depth with challenger Don Huffines about his plans and his message to Texas voters. First, Democrats push federal legislation to make states expand access to mail-in ballots and early voting, why opposition from some in their own party could kill the bill.